But I told him I needed some money for some groceries. And he decided to deliver the stuff, pick what he want to pick, and have it delivered himself. Instead of sending me the money, he didn't have the groceries delivered. Because I told him, I needed tissue and I was out and I needed some groceries. And he done went shopping online and had some groceries delivered. That ain't what I wanted. I wanted you to send me the money so I could shop my own self.
Welcome to the Clear the Air podcast with D and Q.
I'm D.
And I'm Q. Man, listen, we got another one of those kind of reacting to something that we saw that I think happens a lot.
Right.
That we should discuss. So, tell me about the story that you presented to me.
Well, again, I'll come across something and I'll be like, bro, I think this is something we should discuss. Mm-hmm. And again, I wanted to run it by you because, I know you can kind of relate to the situation. Not saying that the situation exactly that we're about to talk about, but, I know you can kind of relate to the overall situation.
Right.
So quick backdrop, there was a video, a mother was upset because her child's father, she asked the child's father for money for groceries. And instead of giving the mother the money, the father ordered groceries and had them delivered to the mom's house. So she was upset because she asked for the money because she wanted to buy the groceries on her own. And one of the things she said was, he doesn't really know what specifically that they eat. I guess, she knows certain things that they may eat or they may like over other certain brands or whatever. I'm just assuming that. That was the biggest thing. Mm-hmm. And I thought that was interesting, but I want to say surprised, actually pleasantly surprised because a lot of people took the defense of the father. Mm-hmm. And I was saying, here's a man that's providing for the family, doing what you asked him to do. One, taking the initiative to not only purchase the groceries, but have them delivered. And then they were calling the mom ungrateful, because, we talk so much about fathers not being there. And even though you're not still together with the mom, right, still being present in the child's life and being able to provide. Mm-hmm. So I thought about you, and I wanted us to talk about this conversation because I figured, one, it would be a good topic to discuss, but two, I thought you would be able to provide some insight, just overall in general, because you co-parent your daughter.
Right. So this really opens up so many things, and I think ungrateful could be a term that's used.
Mm-hmm. I think that was the term I heard and read the most.
Yeah, and let me tell you why I say ungrateful.
And that was from
men,
women, yes, and mostly women.
Right.
Because someone were like, he could deliver groceries to my house, or I'll take them. You know what I mean? So yeah.
And let me tell you, just going off of that comment that you just made, I'm gonna say this: do we not know how expensive groceries are nowadays?
Correct. Just like with everything, prices have gone through the roof.
Yeah. And for me, like I for the most part do grocery shopping in my house. So for me, I know what the prices were at the beginning of the pandemic, what they are now. And think about it this way. If you're really hurting for food, there are places that you can go and get help. Like a lot of churches, shout out to the churches who, have food banks, and even food banks that are not associated with churches. You don't get a choice. Mm-hmm. It's food. So I can understand the ungrateful part, why that's being said. And I think another thing too is if you don't appreciate the brands, or because there's times I buy things and my youngest daughter, she doesn't particularly like I can just to be transparent. There's a pepperoni brand, like, you know, we put them in her lunches. So there's a particular brand that she does not like, right? Well, I'm not going to continue to buy that brand, and then, because it's one thing to pay expensive prices for the food, and then it's another thing
To be wasteful.
for you to not eat it.
Right. Be wasteful.
Okay? Because number one, we ain't grow up like that. If we brought it in the house, it was getting eaten. But again, I understand also that if the child is not going to eat it, I'm not going to buy it again. Okay? So my thing is, before you went to social media, ma'am, did you have a conversation with him? Hey, I appreciate you for buying the food. Nisi doesn't like blah, 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 blah. Next time if you do it and I appreciate it, do you mind if I give you a list? Which leads to my next thing. Why did you need to have the money? Why did you need to have it? Because I also feel like this. When you asked him, you should have given him an option too. Hey, I would like to know if I could get $200 for groceries. If you don't want to do that, is it possible that I can give you a list and you get as many of these items as you feel you can do? Okay, or what's my limit? You know. So I want to pause for a second because I'm kind of going in.
Hey, bro.
We good?
Let it go, bro.
Okay.
I mean, this is your, you know.
My neck of the woods?
Yeah. This is the reason why I brought it to you.
Yeah.
So what I don't want, you know, I don't want it to seem like it's a bashing session for your child's mom.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, but we're strictly talking about
this situation.
Yeah.
But I will later on give an example of a situation that I had, that I encountered. And if there are any women who see this, we'll deal with that in a second. Because I'll say what I'm going to say, and then I'll clarify as well, because my wife has given me some insight as well. The next thing I would say is, from the father's standpoint, well, I question if he's on child support. It makes me think if he's on child support, because if he's on child support, you really should be grateful. Okay?
So that would be in addition to what he's already given.
In addition, which leads me to the thing I'm getting ready to say. Unfortunately, that $200, let's say, I don't know why $200 is stuck in my head, but because $100 in groceries ain't gonna get you.
We just use it. It wasn't said what the amount was, so we just using it as a
so I'm just using $200 as a guide, right? So let's just say it's $200 and he gave that. That's looked at as a gift in the court's eyes. Or if he's not on child support, it's looked at as a gift. It's not registered with him because it didn't go through child support. So whether he's on child support and gave that $200, or if he's not on child support and he gave that $200, that's looked at as a gift. It's not registered underneath that. So again,
it would be additional.
It's an addition. It's and when I say in addition, if he's giving child support already, it's an addition. If he's not on child support, you know, and I would assume if he willingly did that, he's probably providing money for her for the child's clothing and different things like that. So, you know, because that's another essential need for a child. So I'm sure, this is my point, that he wanted to make sure that it was being spent for what you said it was going to be spent for.
Correct.
And again, this is not an attack on women in general. I'm not even attacking this young lady who, you know, went online and posted this. But
and that was my thing. Why? I know it's just
another
generation
topic,
right now, but people just want to run the social media and put their business on social media. I just don't. I don't get that.
Yeah.
I don't get that. You know, because you're opening yourself to criticism, just other people's opinions.
Yeah.
And, you know, everybody on social media got an opinion.
Yeah. But what happens is a lot of times people feel. A lot of times we do things for the likes and the comments, and so this could have backfired because you probably thought that it was going to go the opposite way,
right? You probably was thinking that women out there felt the same way, maybe can relate and this and that, and then you ended up mostly getting bashed.
You played yourself.
You played. Congratulations.
What
You played yourself.
Lala saying? He got game. You played yourself. You faded yourself. Old school joint.
I like the Khaled joke. Congratulations. You played yourself. Just like that.
Yeah. So was the father wrong? No. Shout out to the father for doing it.
Mm-hmm.
And not to say like he did anybody a favor. No, it's his child. We get that.
Mm-hmm.
He
did what he's supposed to.
He did what he was supposed to do.
And he did what, like you said, you could have given him an option. If you're not gonna give him the money, here's a list of things we need. And I think she did give him, I think she told him certain things. Like she might have said milk and juice, but it might not have been the milk, the type of milk that normally they drink, or maybe the type of juice. I forgot. I would have to go back and see. But I think he got the. If you ask for something, that's what he got. I don't know if it was the specific type that she wanted, because that's what she seemed to have been upset about.
Yeah. But what I thought was dope too, like as soon as you showed it to me, bro, I'm like, yo, that's a lot of food.
It was a lot of food, and it was delivered to the house.
Yeah, and the tissue. And granted, it wasn't but even that stuff is super expensive.
Yeah.
Super expensive. So, I just
judging from the bags alone, what do you think he probably spent?
In my mind, because I do the shopping, I think that's why $200 was stuck in my mind.
Yeah, it looked like about $250.
And that was just like you just thinking of food, and so then when you start adding in the toilet tissue and stuff too, you go to because you can get the toilet tissue at the grocery store. So that's my thought on that. I think I'm going to give a personal experience now, and this is the part I was mentioning earlier that like my wife has even chimed in on, because I think sometimes as fathers we can look at when we're paying child support, we can look at like I can't think of the word right now, but how the funds are appropriated, like what it goes to. I think
how is it dispersed?
Dispersed,
right.
Yeah. How is it dispersed? I think sometimes we can look at that the wrong way. So, for example, when I was going through a situation that determined, how much, I was asked the question, was it going to come out of my check? Was it going to come automatically out of my check, or was I going to send the money straight to child support? And I opted to have it come out of my check. No problem. That way it's taken care of. It's done. It's an automatic process.
You ain't got to even see it.
Yeah, I ain't got to worry about it. It's done.
Kind of like taxes.
Yep, just like taxes. Right. And so I opted for that. But the other thing I think they asked me was like, when did you want to have it come out? And initially I think it was already a date that they had, and then I was kind of trying to the idea came about rearranging it. And I think that came before they asked how did they want it to come out, like they wanted to come out of my check or whatever. So
did you base it around when you got paid, like your pay date?
Well, I think I said it wrong. I think that was the question first, but it's an automatic every 2 week type situation when it's coming out of your check. So at that point, you don't really dictate, how that's done. So anyway, a response that I had got was they didn't like the idea, the situation I was in, didn't like the idea of the time I was originally thinking I would like for it to come out. So as a result, they said, I need my money now. I got bills to pay. And it's funny you laughing, because I kind of had that response, but it does go back to kind of like what my wife said, like if I pay the light bill, that's for your child. It's not that all of that money went directly to the child, but okay, let's just say you got $400 or $500 worth of food in the house, but the light bill didn't get paid. Well, that don't make sense.
I always refer to Chris Rock. He was like, if the child can't read, that's mama fault. Now the child can't read because the lights ain't on. That's daddy's fault. He's like, nobody care about daddy. Nobody say, daddy, thank you for knocking out this rent. Daddy, it's so easy to do this homework with all this light.
Facts though.
Chris Rock is hilarious, man. He is hilarious. He is like, but it just reminded me of that, like what you said, knocking out the light bill. So that because that's providing for the child.
It's providing for the child
and the household in which they live in.
Yeah, and sometimes as men we don't look at it like that.
Mm-hmm.
Which
that was the point your wife made.
That's the point my wife.
Okay, gotcha.
As someone who has paid child support herself and has received it at a particular point in time. So
wow.
Yeah. So I'm just
she sees both sides.
Right. And so I said what I said because I had the same response that you did. I just kind of laughed it off like, wow, like, okay, so you making this about you.
Right. It was just kind of,
it came off.
It came off just kind of.
We can keep it a buck. It came off a certain kind of way, and I felt that way too when I heard it.
And sometimes you just got to laugh.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Which is what I did in my head. Right. I hate being in courts, but
and the fact that it was said in court.
In court. Yeah. But again, when you look at the context of things, a mom is not wrong for taking and putting it towards a bill that's in the house, or if it's this month I'm gonna take care of this, so next month I have more of that child support money and I can disperse it to this. So again, I think we just need to. It's so much man versus women stuff out here, content out here now that it's sickening.
Yeah, it's too much. It's too much.
Yeah,
and it's like it's the narrative. It's draining.
It is.
It's just.
It is. It's like, do you want to be with women or do you not want to be with women? Do you want to bash women? Because you can't bash them and then love them at the same time.
And then the same with women towards the
exactly.
men. Like, just and we'll talk about this because we definitely want to talk about it. But the biggest thing now is just finances. Bro. People just talk about finances. Who should pay the bill? Blah, 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 blah.
Right. That's a whole other topic.
Yes.
But it kind of relates
because, to this. Yeah, because we're talking about
finances.
Yeah. She wanted the money, and he provided what she said she was going to use the money for. Yeah. So he did it himself.
He did it.
And again, had him deliver. It wasn't like he tried to come to the house or came to the house unannounced. Yeah. He had to deliver.
Yeah.
And bro, when I saw it, I was like, this is interesting. But these are the conversations we want to have on this podcast. Right?
That we need to have.
For sure. It's just some discussion, some dialogue. You know what I mean? And I knew when I come across things where I feel like one of us can relate to, I just want to talk about it. You know what I mean? And so when I broached you with that idea, you was like, dog, this the one. You know? I was like, all right, well, let's do it.
So as we clear the air, I want to say a couple of things. Shout out to my man, whoever this guy is, whoever this father is. Again, there's so much talk at times where men are bashed and talked down about for not being fathers, especially African-American fathers. This was an African-American woman. And so I'm even there making an assumption. But, there's a lot of talk surrounding that. And here it is, we see an example of a father who did what he was supposed to do. Whether he did what he was supposed to do, did above and beyond what he was supposed to do, he provided. Ladies, sometimes communication, even when you're not together, means everything.
I actually think it means more.
It means more.
Right.
Because you could have gotten what you wanted. I just think if the effective communication would have been there to say, hey, give the man an option. Because if he had the option, he'd have been like, what's the service? Instacart. He'd have been like your personal Instacart shopper and went and got exactly what you wanted. If they didn't have it, he could have sent you a text message. Hey, listen, I went to try to get this. They didn't have this. I got this instead. But I feel like as families, and we don't look at it like this, but it's still a family even when you're not together. So let's do better in how we deal with family, how we communicate with family, how we provide and take care of what's most important, especially when you're separated or no longer together, and taking care of that child. And I feel like my man took care of what he was supposed to take care of. He's not supposed to take care of you, nor was the expectation that he would, but he did accordingly.
I think, we call out men who are absent fathers, right? We do it often, and rightfully so.
Rightfully so.
Because we want fathers to step up to the plate and be present, not just about money. We also talk about time and this and that. So, in this situation, we want to, like you said, highlight the fact that this father is doing what he's supposed to do, which is provide for his child. I'm pretty sure it was a daughter. And so, I think when I saw it, I was like, one of the main things I thought about was like, see, he must be fed up. He must be like, because he might be thinking, you using my money for something else, this and that, blah, blah, blah. And he was like, all right, I know how I'm going to get over that. Not even over that, but I know how I'm going to
get through
that. Yeah. This what you need? Okay, cool. And I'm going to do it. Still spending bread, but I know exactly where it's going.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And so I think the situation with the mom, again, I think she went into it trying to run the social media and maybe try to clown him and shame him. And like I said, I was pleasantly surprised. A lot of them was like, you being ungrateful. He did what you asked him to do.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so it was just interesting, man. It was very, very interesting, bro. Very, very interesting, bro. But again, we want to highlight those dads that are doing what they're supposed to do for their child.
That's right.
Because if we're going to highlight the negative, those absent fathers, then we got to highlight the positive, because that's what we ultimately want to, bring on this podcast, that positivity, and say, fathers, this is what we need to do.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying?
Well, listen, y'all, we want to, again, ask you, first, thank you for your continued support. We want to ask you, help us, support us. You can do that by liking our content, the reels, the shorts, the full episodes, but also by subscribing, leaving comments, joining in the conversation. This podcast is to have the conversations that sometimes we feel are tough to have.
This one right here, not to cut you off, but this one right here, I feel like I'm asking, we really would like feedback from this, especially from the moms out there, and maybe the not even the single moms, but the moms that are co-parenting.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts about this? Do you think the mom was justified in asking for the money and being upset that the dad bought the groceries, or do you think the dad was right and the mom was wrong? So I definitely want to hear the perspective from our viewers. The men as well, the dads out there as well.
Right.
Go ahead.
Who would find themselves in this position
Right.
to where they may be doing this same thing.
Right.
So.
Right. Definitely want to get y'all feedback on this one. Definitely want to get y'all feedback on this.
Well, y'all know how to do that. Y'all can find us on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. Apple and Spotify too. Make sure you check us out. Leave your comments.
Peace.
Peace.